The verdict has come in connection to the murder of Toronto rapper A.W.O.L at the hands of his ex-girlfriend Brianna Warner. Now, this verdict has come in a little bit early as we've been following up on this case. We reported on the last video that the verdict would be coming in next week on Wednesday. And this has been a crazy case where a Toronto rapper who has ops was actually murdered by his ex-girlfriend.
It was December 16th, 2022, around 4:50 a.m. when police were called to 3950 Lawrence Avenue East for a shooting. When officers arrived, they found 20-year-old J. Parker Ford lying outside his family's 14th floor apartment. He later died in hospital from a single gunshot wound to the back of his head. Parker Ford's older brother testified Tuesday he discovered his brother in the hallway, telling the jury his brother was a rapper known as SK, saying while he rapped about money, drugs, and guns, it was just to sell records, saying he was really a nice kid.
And as this trial went on, a lot of crazy things got uncovered, including the fact that it was not his ops, it was actually his ex-girlfriend, and that she befriended an undercover about 4 to 5 months later that only goes by the name of TJ, that she confessed the murder to while she was driving in the car with her mother, as well as letting her know that she wrote a rap about it.
In the Crown's opening address at the trial for Brianna Warner, charged with the first-degree murder of Parker Ford, the Crown told the jury they will see cell phone records showing there were communications on Snapchat in the hours before the deadly shooting between the victim and an account which used an IP address located at Brianna Warner's home address. The victim and the other individual were planning on meeting up that night at the victim's home. The Crown told jurors they will hear from an undercover officer known only as TJ, who befriended Warner in February 2023, and Warner had no idea that she was a police officer. The Crown told the jury TJ got authorization from a judge to wear a wire so she could secretly record conversations with Warner. And in April 2023, while in the car with the accused, this officer recorded Warner telling her mother that she had shot someone in the head. TJ also recorded Warner telling her specific details of the shooting. She also told TJ she wrote a rap about the shooting that she called Brain Dead.
So as you can hear, this was a very tangled web with confessions and rap songs written, and everything was brought in front of the jury. And this was a very fast-track trial in comparison to a lot of trials because of everything and all the evidence that was laid out, and the fact that there wasn't any other suspects involved in this case right here. But now the jury has deliberated and found Brianna Warner guilty of first-degree murder of J. Parker Ford, aka A.W.O.L. Now, the story gets a little crazier as we get a little bit deeper into the trial and find out the different reasons why Brianna might have murdered A.W.O.L. Now, from what I have over here, this is a Reddit post, but this is actually an article from the Toronto Star. And there's some really integral parts of this article right here that gives a little bit more clarity into why Brianna Warner might have murdered A.W.O.L. Now, it says here, the central piece of evidence in the case is the set secret recordings of conversations between Warner and the undercover officer, only known as TJ, who was tasked in February of 2023 with briefing Warner after she emerged as a person of interest in the killing. On April 6, 2023, TJ caught on tape a surprise declaration Warner made to her mother during an argument while all three were in the car. Now, here's a quote from the argument in the car. "Just shut up, just shut up, just shut up," Warner could be heard saying on the clip. "Mom, listen, remember when you asked me about the guy who got shot in the head? I did that. I have anger issues. Leave me the fuck alone." The article continues saying here, TJ was then instructed to build on the statement. She visited Warner at her home the following day, where Warner told her in her bedroom the name of the victim, when and where the shooting happened, and that she used her ex-boyfriend's gun. Crazy. So not only did she murder A.W.O.L and admit it to the undercover that only goes by the name of TJ, but she actually used the gun of one of her ex-boyfriends. I don't know if the article is saying that A.W.O.L is her ex-boyfriend in this case, but from the way I'm reading it in the article here, she had the gun of an ex that she was with before A.W.O.L and used that gun to kill A.W.O.L. Insane. The article continues here, and she told TJ she written a rap called Brain Dead about the incident. And then the quote continues, "He didn't die right away. Basically, like, he was brain dead when I shot him." Warner told TJ, "I seen the hole and then I started running." And then the article continues over here. Warner was arrested the next day. and then so on and so forth. Now, another crazy part about this trial here is that the jury deliberation was blocked for a moment because they felt that one of the jury members might be compromised because that person came from the same neighborhood as Avboy SK and Breonna Warner.
The family of the victim let out a collective sigh of relief after hearing the word guilty. There was a lot of uncertainty about how this trial would end. Around 2 o'clock on Friday afternoon, there was a note from the jury saying they were deadlocked. The judge told jurors to go back and try to come to a verdict one more time. Then, about 3 o'clock, the judge got another note from the jury, which read, "Your Honor, we have made all progress possible but can't reach a unanimous verdict. During deliberations, a juror is a blocker in our decision. We found out he lives in the area. We believe there are personal matters/biases. We need your help in addressing this matter." And then, before the judge had formed an answer for the jury, around 4 p.m., there was a verdict.
So as you can see right there, the trial almost got delayed because of the one jury member that they felt might have been compromised, a man that is from the area, and that area being the East End in Scarborough, the Orton Park area where Avboy SK came from, and was the building where he was living in at the time. So it could be a conflict of interest having somebody on the jury that's from that neighborhood because the neighborhood has a lot of history, there's a lot of gang violence, there's a lot of people that know each other and are connected to each other. So I could understand why there was an issue when it came to finding out that one of the jury members was somebody from the neighborhood. However, like I said, this is a video about the conviction of Breonna Warner, so they were able to get through that and find a decision as far as the conviction in this case.
Breonna Warner is guilty of the first-degree murder of J. Parker Ford, also known by his rap name Avboy SK. He was shot to death in the hallway of his Lawrence Avenue apartment on December 16, 2022. The guilty verdict means the jury believed an undercover officer who testified behind a screen to protect her identity. She said she befriended Warner in February 2023 and wore a secret recording device. 2 recordings were played in court, one in which Warner can be heard telling her mother she'd shot a guy in the head. The officer also recorded Warner telling her the guy she'd shot was Parker Ford, and Warner showed her a rap song she'd written about the murder called Brain Dead. The defense argued there was no evidence to connect Warner to the crime scene and said Warner's confession was fake and untrue and her rap song was simply artistic expression. The defense also said Snapchat messages on Parker Ford's phone showed there were others who had animus with him. The judge automatically sentenced Breonna Warner to life in prison with no chance of parole for 25 years, the mandatory sentence for first-degree murder.
So as you can see right there, even though there was a little bit of issues as far as the jury deliberation, they were able to come to a conclusion and find Breonna Warner guilty of first-degree murder. The judge wasn't hesitant as far as the conviction that was thrown down in regards to this case right here. And the case is not done because they're still going to have to get family statements and victim impact statements from this whole incident.
A sentencing hearing has been scheduled for next month in which victim impact statements will be read out. Catherine McDonald, Global News.
So as you can see right there, we just have to wait for the victim impact statement, but she has been sentenced to 25 years. She'll probably be eligible for parole, or who knows, as far as the way that this case and the confessions that happened in this case, the details talking about she can see the hole in his head and how she ran away. I don't think that the judge had any sympathy towards her in regards to this case or mental health issues or anything of that nature in regards to this case right here. So there you have it. The only question that is still left unanswered for me personally, and I think a lot of people who've been following this case, is why. There's still not a motive to why Breonna Warner killed Avboy SK in cold blood, one shot to the back of the head. We don't know if it was the domestic dispute. We don't know if it was something that happened after she might have found out he was cheating. We don't know if this was a setup that came from the ops, because she did have a handgun that belonged to her ex-boyfriend, or allegedly belonged to her ex-boyfriend at this point, because there's still a lot of questions that remained unanswered, even though we have a conviction right here. But let me know what y'all think about this in the comments below. Do you think that this was a crime of passion? She found out that Avboy SK was cheating and just went crazy. You know, she said that she has anger issues when she was confessing the murder to her mom. Do you think that this was a plot from the ops? Let me know what y'all think about this in the comments below. Also, let me know what y'all think about the conviction. Do you think this was a rightful conviction from the judge to give her 25 to life? Or do you think that they might have been able to have a little bit of leniency on her and just, attribute some of this to mental health issues? Okay. Let me know in the comments below. I read all comments and try to respond to as many as possible. Make sure to hit that like button on the way out. We are off of this. Deuces. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to check out these other videos on the screen and make sure to like and subscribe.
We love hip hop.